My brother and I have been all around the world, this next character, Mr. Stiles. You know, in 2010, this is how Jason and I first met. So, it was 2010, 2011. I had this Alaska activation that I had to go do. And at that time, you know, making YouTube videos on YouTube, you know, a lot of the things that I was requesting from the universe was, can you actually bring me someone on Earth who's not talk, who can actually go to where I need to go and show up on time and handle business? So I put this call out on this video. If you're the real deal and you call yourself a light warrior, meet me in Alaska. Out of everyone on Earth, this guy shows up, 10-year pararescue veteran. He's got ropes, harnesses, guns, everything you would ever need in any sort of a situation shows up. It is my absolute pleasure to introduce one of my dearest friends, my brother in arms, and truly one of the most gifted light warriors on Earth, Mr. Jason Stiles.
Thank you, brother. So I brought my water this time. Who was here last year? Yeah. Last year I had a little trouble. I was drinking. I didn't have any water up on stage, and I was like talking, and I was like, I can't talk. Anybody got any water? And I brought my props.
Okay.
And I need a clicker. And I got one more thing. I got my chapstick, just in case. So, I got a couple surprises for you guys. I'm going to be announcing something that I haven't announced yet to the world. So is this thing, how long is this? Can I walk over here? I can't. So you'll be the first to find out what is to come. So first of all, I got a couple gifts. Who in here can answer this question correctly gets a pyramid? The first question is, who traveled the furthest to get here? Hawaii? What? South Africa? That. Winner. South Africa sounds like a winner to me. Come on up. Okay, next question. Who here is older than 75? 80? 76? 76 is the oldest here? 77? 80? Anybody older than 78? Going once, going twice. Sold to the lady in the back that's 78, going on 79. Okay, next question. Anybody know what this one is? What? Who here is younger than 20? We got a 19-year-old? What are you? 17? Anybody younger than 17? All right, we got a winner. That one's hard to beat. So we're going to talk about designer magnetic fields today, but first, I want to give you a little awakening story of my own. So, Ryan mentioned that I showed up in Alaska. Let me give you the backstory before that. Anybody see my videos on YouTube? Anybody know who I am? Who's seen my videos on YouTube? A few people. Okay, so here we go. I'll just start from the beginning. I was born in Texas. There was a time when I was in the Air Force, about 12 years, on a rescue team, jumping out of helicopters, saving down pilots, scuba diving. Had a glorious job, right? Got to do all the fun stuff. And one day, the universe pointed me to another direction. As I fell out of a helicopter, flying through the air about 60 feet up, landed on gravel, broke both my legs, compressed my spine. So I ended up getting on a little early retirement on some disability, and went back to school, started studying pre-med, right? And then I was studying this 2012 phenomenon on the side. It was like, really, my higher self was like, you need to learn this. Something's going to happen. So it was like all my studies over here in school, I was studying metaphysics on the side and trying to figure out what was going to happen in 2012. Who here woke up around 2009, 2010? Yeah, that's the wave I was on. So in 2010, I'm meditating in my apartment, and all of a sudden, the Kundalini hit. Chakras turn on, and I'm like, whoa, I feel that. What is that? First time ever feeling my chakras, right? And it was all coming through my heart, and it just expanded out and started activating each chakra after that. So for about 3 hours, I felt like I was levitating. I didn't want to open my eyes because I'm like, I didn't want to ruin the surprise that I'm probably just laying there, but every cell in my body was vibrating. I could feel it. So from that point on, I knew there was something to this. This 2012, not the doom and gloom side that there was going to be the end of the world, but more of there was an evolutionary leap happening. So that's what stuck in my mind whenever I saw that, when I was having the experience, the visions that came through was more DNA. I saw the DNA spirals. I saw the galactic clock. I saw timelines. I started getting codes, downloads. So I'm watching Ryan's YouTube video, and he's announcing that he's going to Alaska, and in 60 days. And so my higher self's like, you're going to go to Alaska. And I'm like, what? What do you mean? Yeah, get ready, you're going. I'm like, well, I have a prior engagement. You see, there's things happening around that time. They're like, don't worry, you're going to make it. So I call Ryan. I'm like, hey, apparently I'm supposed to meet you in Alaska. And so, long story short, I show up with all my gear. And I'm like, all right, what are we doing? He's like, well, we're going to open up a Stargate. He's like, well, we got to go around the mountain, five locations around the mountain. We got to spin a ring around us, throw it up in the air, create a pillar of light of protection. And I'm going to go down, and I'm going to tie these cables down, and we're going to open up a Stargate. So he's like, I'm like, okay, so what do I do? He's like, well, you make sure nothing gets to me. I'm like, okay, well, how do I do that? He's like, well, you just hold the field back. Keep it going, keep spinning it. I'm going to go down. So I'm like, okay, let me get this straight. I'm like half blind. I can kind of hear my higher self. And you want me to protect you? Wait a minute. How come you got the bigger staff and I got this little stick with a quartz on it? Something doesn't seem right. So he starts putting on his armor. I'm like, wait, I don't have any armor. Where'd you get that? He's like, I made it. I'm like, damn it. I gotta upgrade my gear. So, next thing you know, 5 years later, we've been around the world 3 times. So, part of my mission here on Earth is to activate the planet to help facilitate activating the human collective. So, we went to probably 6 different stargates. So we're in the end of a stellar activation cycle, the ascension cycle. It's a natural cycle. It happens every 25,558 years. So we're preparing for something huge that's about to happen. Does everybody feel that? Everybody feel something's coming? Okay, so that was the past. Present, I started working on longevity type technology, accelerated rejuvenation type technology, right? Because I fell out of a helicopter. I needed to repair my own cells, my own injuries. So iPyramids is what I founded about 5 years ago. Let me tell you a little bit about that. So, has anybody ever been to sacred sites around the world, like Giza, big megalithic temples? So a lot of these temples, they're built on ley lines. Thank you. So the magnetic ley lines around the Earth, there's many different grid sets. There's some main grid sets. The biggest, most powerful grid set is the Pele grid set. Shaped as a stellated dodecahedron, or Icosahedron. So a lot of the stargates are at these apexes, like Giza's for one. A lot of the stargates are the cause of wars. The upper dimensionals are fighting over control over the stargates. Instead of focusing on evolution, they're focusing on control. One example is there's a stargate in Xi'an, China, and then the Q site to activate that is in Tibet. So you have these 2 countries China invading Tibet to gain control of the Q site. Another example is Iraq and Iran. Iraq has a stargate. Iran has a Q site to activate that stargate. So this guy, Stefan Cardinaux, he's a Switzerland scientist dowser. He has developed some instruments to measure these ley lines. So it's pretty interesting. He's actually done extensive measurements on the grids, the different types of grids, how strong they are. And when they hit an intersection, the 2 most powerful ley lines, when they connect, they create a spiraling vortex, a torsion field. Within this torsion field, he's measured the effects that it has on the human biological system. So this is a church on one of the ley lines. The ancient builders actually could see the lines, and they built it right where the lines would go through the windows and through the doors. So the physiological effects on the different ley lines. Different grids would resonate different metals in the body and have different physiological healing effects in the body. The Pele grid, which was the strongest grid I was talking about, resonated gold within the body. It also had an effect on consciousness. People experienced time dilation. a sense of no time while in these vortexes. So there's many, many pyramids around the world. I think there's like tens of thousands, actually. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about why they use this shape and how to properly build one. So you got Nubians, Angkor Wat, Cambodia, Bosnia. You go down the tunnels in Bosnia and you can read like 80,000 negative ions per square inch, which is very healing space. Thousands of pyramids in Mexico, all over the world, right? So who was taught that pyramids were burial tombs for the pharaoh in high school? Okay, so that's wrong. I could agree that maybe they would put someone in there when they're dying, because that would be a great place to die, and here's why. When the waves come together and create that spiraling vortex, they create a longitudinal wave. The longitudinal waves travel across the universe at speeds faster than light. So if you're going to die and you're going to exit the body and project your plasma across the universe, that's a great place to do it, in a pyramid. So another reason, the sun and the earth give us our necessary frequencies. The sun gives us the high frequencies from the photons and the UV light, and the earth gives us the necessary low frequencies. So the energetic body needs protons and the earth's frequencies just as much as the physical body needs food, water, and oxygen. So sun gazing is a way we can absorb these light rays, these higher frequencies. Earth's magnetic field is the fifth element of health. So the ancient builders knew this. They knew that the electromagnetic field of the earth, they could harness it and create a bioactive field. So the largest source of electrons in the human's immediate environment is the surface of the earth. So you can walk outside and absorb this into the palms of the soles of your feet. You can walk barefoot like 20 minutes a day. That's all it takes to absorb this and start to reduce inflammation and heal all kinds of problems. There's a book out there called Earthing. Check it out. And there's a documentary on it too. So why are electrons so important? So Albert St. George, a Nobel Prize winner, he found that the electrons were the life-driving force. He found that electrons are vortices of energy possessing the ability to do work, and that they exhibit a paradoxical particle wave duality and can emerge spontaneously from the zero-point energy field. The body requires these excited state electrons to fuel life processes. So, everybody heard of David Wilcock? Source field investigations? Okay. He says one of the big secrets across the ancient wisdom teachings is geometry. Geometry is vibration. Geometry is the visual representation of structural manifestation of vibration. The function of proteins, the function of DNA, is all based on geometry. These waves are around us, but they need to be tuned so that they can do something we appreciate. So the tuning comes into what we call shape power. The shape of the pyramid is like a funnel in which it captures these waves and starts making them spin, because it's like a fluid that spins inside the pyramid. Okay, so if you can build a pyramid with copper, brass, silver, platinum, so non-ferrous metals are best to use with pyramids. You don't want to use ferrous metals, which are iron, steel, or even aluminum. They're down low on the fractal scale. Hardwoods, you can use wood to build a pyramid. The harder the wood, the more mineral content in it, the better it's going to function. There you want to use golden ratios because, again, you're funneling everything up to a point using golden ratios to make that function with a longitudinal wave, to create those faster than light waves. So doing this, you also promote balance and homeostasis of our systems by allowing the body to align with nature with less resistance. So what I'm doing with iPyramids is combining some modern technology with the ancient technology. So iPyramids harnesses and accelerates the field naturally generated by the Earth's spin. Increased field spin and charge energizes our body, promoting vitality, allows easier biofeedback. We're accelerating the spin accelerates your aura, the aura is accelerated, it accelerates your DNA. The quartz crystals help amplify the energies transmitted and received, connects us with the Earth's information fields and the cosmos web of life. And we have the ability to output specific frequencies to promote desired healing effects. So this is an introduction to vortex-based mathematics. Has anybody studied vortex-based mathematics before or heard of Rodin coils? A couple? Right. So this is the vortex-based mathematics. It's discovered by Marco Rodin. He open sourced this finding to the population so that we can all find applications for it instead of selling to the highest bidder. So it's such a huge discovery. It reveals how energy is expressing itself mathematically. Vortex energy is thought to be the source of the non-decaying spin of the electron, the underpinning geometry of the universe, the fabric of time itself, the grand unified field theory. The vortex coil is a vortex machine continually imploding and exploding and moving like a gyroscope. It emanates the pulse of the Earth's electromagnetic field in the center of the galaxy. The energy produced is said to be pulsating, vibrating source of time and motion which emanates out omnidirectionally from the center of the cyclone. So it started out with Randy Powell. He developed a three-dimensional model of the math and wrapped copper wire around a toy donut. That took off. Many people around the world were experimenting with that, building free energy, trying to create an alternative energy device, an inexhaustible renewable source of energy. Jamie Buturf jumped on board. He altered it with a style of interference patterns. And then he was the first to discover the healing applications for it. So that's how I got into it, because I saw Jamie Buturf in one of his testimonies. A guy had a third-degree burn from a mortar round, and the doctor said that's going to take about 2 years to heal and about 3 skin grafts. And so they played around with harmonic frequencies like 432, 512, 256, and played them through the coil just like this, and sped up that hole in the stomach in 32 days. So Daniel and Erica Nunez at One Stop Energies, they discovered how to optimize the coil symmetry with a unique winding pattern. And they're working on different applications as well over there. They got the Peace on Earth Vortex Coil. So I jumped in as part of this grassroots movement, and I was working with the different Rodin coils and Stiles, and I ended up combining my own coil winding mounting system to combine it with crystals and create a unique shungite core, or anything I can make an orgonite matrix. So some of the theorized implications of this technology when it first came out was inexhaustible energy, the end to all disease, produce unlimited food, travel anywhere in the US, travel anywhere in the universe, build the ultimate supercomputer, and make obsolete all existing technologies. Pretty huge claim. Currently, people around the world are using this for life-saving medical devices, new computer informations, compressing schemes, developing renewable clean energy, anti-aging devices, and human activation technology. So that's something I want to tell you about in just a minute. That's the surprise. Vortex coils used as unique PEMF therapy devices. So NASA has done most of the studies on PEMF therapy because when the astronauts left the Earth's magnetic field, they came back with a bunch of illnesses like kidney stones, bone loss, muscle atrophy. And they did over thousands of studies to figure out what went wrong. So we heard it was the gravity field, but the electromagnetic and the gravity field are one and the same. So they developed the pulsing electromagnetic field therapy for the astronauts to pulse in their suits and in the space shuttle to supplement for the field that they're outside of Earth, the fifth element of health. Who's got the time? Ten minutes left? Less than 10. All right, let's speed this thing up. So we have a lot of cellular benefits for PEMF therapy. Produces more energy, enhances sodium-potassium pump, increases cellular pH in the body, and lowers blood viscosity, improves circulation. The top benefits that NASA's come out with is pain relief and pain reduction and inflammation. It produces endorphins, stronger bones, better sleep, HGH secretion, improves immunity, and accelerates tissue and nerve cell regeneration. So this is an example of how the waves are coming down to the center. Oh, do I have a pointer here? Here we go. So we have waves coming down the vortex, creating a phase conjugate spiral. These phase conjugate waves are all imploding constructively in a golden ratio optimization. So when that happens, you create this longitudinal wave, the scalar wave. Scalar wave pioneer, Lieutenant Colonel Tom Bearden. He was working with this technology with the military, and they're using a lot of this for weaponry. But he was trying to disclose to the collective that this could also be used for healing. So he said the medical implications are enormous. Physicians will time reverse disease, damaged, or aged cells back to an earlier, healthier condition, including all the cellular genetics. Normal cells are just reversed to a slightly younger condition. Any sort of disease whatsoever, physical or mental, will be rapidly curable, simply and cheaply. It will be possible to reverse aging and rejuvenate the person's lifespan will be drastically increased without old age debilitation. Who likes the sound of that? Okay, so our bodies regenerate so well. We are like, there's 7 wonders in the world. We're like number 1. Over 4 billion chemical reactions and 10,000 new cells developed every second. Our science departments are left speechless trying to explain the complexity. 98% of our atoms are replaced each year. We have an entire new body every 7 years. The rods and cones are every 48 hours. New stomach lining every 5 days. Nervous system, 8 months. A new liver every 5 months. Bones, 1 year. Here's the trick. Every time your cell reproduces, there's a question asked. The cell says, do we write the next cell with the same information, or do we use new information? The question's always, you write it with the same information. So if we had new information, to write the next cell with an upgrade, a new cell that's better, younger, fitter, then we would regenerate much faster, stay young longer. Our bodies regenerate, so there's a system of intelligence in our body that knows how to do this. If we just talk to ourselves every night, we can actually reprogram them, give them new information with our own intent. So here's the big surprise. The Vortex Institute for Human Activation is coming soon. We're in early stages of development. A collaboration of frequency holders from around the world who are from all parts of the galaxy, here to activate the planet and humanity. A combination of teachers, healers, life coaches, artists, inventors, permaculturalists, life designers, architects, etc. It's going to be a sustainable living retreat based in Sedona, built with biologic architecture principles in mind, completely off the grid with in-house food, water, and energy. At the Institute, we'll teach people how to grow their aura, how to accrete more light into their aura, and get a bigger plasma bubble, grow their charged domain. Through specialized programs and unique protocols consisting of proper diet, exercise, focus on wellness and recovery and vitality, we'll be able to measure progress with biofeedback technology, such as neurofeedback machines, biofeedback machines, biowells. We'll host a plethora of next-level time-reversing technologies, such as the accelerated rejuvenation chambers that iPyramids is currently in prototype phase with, and I will show you those in just a minute. So Dan Winter, he's one of my biggest mentors. He's an electrical engineer and an expert biological architecture with scalar waves. He says that nature uses fractals in biology to attract voltage from gravity. The electrical field which creates this self-similar or fractal field is called phase conjugate dielectric in electrical engineering terms. These developments in creating literally life-giving electrical fields are going to revolutionize many fields in biology and architecture. So we can create buildings that create life force, that extend people's life. And we can put devices like the ARC. How do you hit play? So this is an example of the ARC 6. So we're going to be spinning a phase conjugate field, a scalar wave from 6 different axes, from 6 different angles. We have been working with this prototype for over 2 years now. I'm not sure if I'm going to have time, but there's a testimony page at the end of this. We have people experiencing third eye activations for the first time, people experiencing out-of-body experiences, no time. They're going into a space where there's no time, so time dilation. It's taking away pain and swelling. All kinds of other biological healing effects are taking place in this ARC 6. So we have an ARC 12 coming, and that's the Icosahedron. So in the center of your DNA is a dodecahedron. It's a hydrogen bond. So right there is an example of the hydrogen bond. It's a dodecahedron. Similar shape as the Earth grid. So if you take this is a model of hydrogen, and you compress charge, and there's 12 different sides here. So the hydrogen bond, when you compress the 12 different sides, it ends up to be an icosahedron. These yellow balls are the tips of the icosahedron. So we're literally creating what's inside your DNA, and we're creating an inertial spin to go and spin your auric field and go deep into your DNA to activate that 90% of the DNA that we're not using, right? So the hydrogen bond is in the center of the ladder rung of the DNA. It's the most golden ratio and multidimensional structure of anything in the universe. So we're already the most multidimensional thing in the universe. We're just pretending not to be. So in physics, the number of dimensions a structure can exist in is the number of axes of charge rotation or spin that can be superposed. So when we start rotating the axes of spin from 12 different axes around us, we're getting into realms of unlocking the 7 senses above the 5 physical senses, where the inner sight, the clairvoyance comes on board, the telepathy comes on board, the 8th sense, where you start to control, and the transmutation of shape-shifting, The ninth sense is transmigration, controls, you can project your consciousness into different things like a person and scan their body to see what is wrong with it, or you can project your consciousness into an eagle and use it for remote viewing. 10th, transfiguration sense, bilocation, and multi-holographic projection. We do this naturally when we sleep. You know, those weird dreams where we're traveling around, we wake up and we're like, whoa, where was I? 11th, electrical projection, consciousness enters dimensionalization. That's manifestation or materialization. And 12th is the opposite, dematerialization, demanifestation. So we have all these abilities dormant within inside of us. We just have to master these and activate them. So that's the whole goal of the ARC 12. And we heard my brother talk about this yesterday, the importance of the vector equilibrium. We're going to have another ARC 12 out of that shape. So everybody was trying to visualize how to put that around them yesterday. We have a solution for that. Coming soon. So, one of the reasons why people will experience time, is my time up? Great. Do we have any questions? Go for it. The vortex coils? Yes. Pyramids create them too. So if you build pyramids with golden ratios, it harnesses the waves of the earth, so it's a passive scalar wave. So as it's harnessing those waves, it circles up, spirals up to the tippity top in the capstone, and then it hits a 0 point.
And what's your thoughts on Giza or Nubian?
Both of those are within golden ratio proportions. One's a little steeper. It's kind of like the opposite, a mirror reflection. The Russians have been doing tremendous amounts of studies over there with the Nubians, 72-degree angle. Lots of good findings with that. Yeah.
If you try to do research on it, you can get a little.
Yeah. You studied.
A lot of attention, but it seems like from a healthcare perspective, the Nubian is the way to go.
Yeah. You've seen the Russian science? Yeah. There's a lot of data they've found. It's very beneficial. The only thing is the roof needs to be higher. If you're putting it in the house, it's hard to put it in there because it's a much steeper angle. So it needs to go outside most of the time. Go ahead. Not yet, but I want to put that, I want to get one of those and put it in the Vortex Institute. It's a Therify. It's creating a plasma vortex. He's got 2 plasma tubes spinning. It's one of the most breakthrough technologies out there so far. Go ahead.
When you build a wood pyramid, does it have to be just like the frame, the 4 corners of the base?
Yes.
Sided?
It doesn't need to be sided. It can be open. Yeah.
Are you familiar with Alexander Golov's pyramid? The one that kind of has like
Mm-mm.
angles going around inside it, like slats.
Mm-mm.
The Russians are saying, their research is saying you can't have any metal.
So it's non-ferrous metal, which is gold, platinum, silver, brass, and copper would be on the cheapest part. The cheapest metal that you can use that's okay to use, non-ferrous. Anybody else? Going once, going twice. One more? I did. It's spinning the magnet, and the vortex field, the torsion field is spinning the magnet that's dangling over there.
All right.
Thank you.
Hey, this is my boa. This is Mr. Stiles. Go ahead and put your hands up one more time for Mr. Stiles.
All right, there's not going to be any karaoke today, but maybe at the after party.
We're going to do karaoke later. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, public speaking is his greatest fear. He will go backwards out of a helicopter in Mach 1000, but this is a big deal for him. So again, he did an amazing job. Thank you, Mr. Stiles.
True story.